What happens when a former U.S. Senator admits under oath that she had an affair with a married member of her security detail, and then argues that the affair should not expose her to a lawsuit because it happened outside the state where the marriage was falling apart? That is now the extraordinary legal battle surrounding former Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema, and with an evidentiary hearing scheduled for August 19, the most revealing details are only now coming into focus. Sinema has acknowledged that her relationship with Matthew Ammel became romantic and intimate in May 2024, while she was still serving in the U.S. Senate. But the latest court filings go much further, detailing multiple encounters over several months and putting the former senator's own testimony at the center of a lawsuit brought by Ammel's ex-wife, Heather. Heather is seeking more than $75,000 in damages under North Carolina's unusual alienation of affection law, claiming Sinema intentionally interfered with her marriage. According to Sinema's July 31 deposition, the relationship began around Memorial Day weekend in 2024 during a stay in Napa, California. She described a private encounter at an Airbnb, and court filings say she later acknowledged intimate encounters in New York City, Washington, D.C., Aspen, Colorado, and Phoenix. Sinema also acknowledged that she knew Matthew was married and had 3 children during the relationship. But here's where this case becomes much more complicated than a celebrity-style affair story. Sinema isn't simply denying the relationship or arguing that nothing happened. Her legal strategy is focused largely on geography and jurisdiction. Her attorneys argue that the relationship occurred outside North Carolina, and therefore the North Carolina lawsuit should not be allowed to proceed against her. That argument matters because North Carolina is one of the few remaining states where a spouse can bring an alienation of affection lawsuit against a third party accused of helping destroy a marriage. State law says the claim involves conduct that allegedly causes the loss of marital affection, and it also places limits on when such claims can arise, including acts occurring after a couple has physically separated with the intent for that separation to be permanent. And that's where Heather Ammel's account becomes important. She has alleged that her marriage to Matthew lasted 14 years and that she discovered romantic and sexual communications between him and Sinema. Earlier court filings described messages exchanged through Signal, while the newer deposition testimony provides Sinema's own account of the physical relationship. Heather has also described Matthew as a liar and manipulator, showing that the case isn't simply one-sided even within the competing accounts. Then there are the messages. During questioning, Sinema was asked about communications with Matthew, including a photograph of herself in a towel with visible cupping marks. She said she didn't remember sending that particular message and suggested the conversation may have involved sports, pointing to her background as an endurance athlete. But another October 2024 message was much harder to explain away. Sinema acknowledged writing words expressing that she missed Matthew and would see him soon. When asked whether she understood why a wife might be concerned by that kind of message, her answer was simply yes. Timing is also significant. Earlier reporting on the lawsuit says Matthew had worked on Sinema's security detail beginning in 2022, and the allegations described the relationship as developing while he was still married. The lawsuit also says Sinema later hired him as a defense and national security fellow on her Senate staff in June 2024. Matthew and Heather ultimately separated in late 2024, according to court filings. Now, there is another twist that could make this case especially interesting. North Carolina lawmakers have considered legislation that would abolish alienation of affection claims, but proposed legislation specifically stated that pending cases would not be affected. So even though lawmakers have debated whether this unusual legal cause of action should survive, the Sinema case remains governed by the law applicable to the case as it moves through court. For Sinema, the immediate question isn't whether the affair happened. Her own filings have already acknowledged that it did. The central legal question is whether North Carolina courts can hold her responsible under the state's law when the physical encounters she describes occurred elsewhere, and whether communications or alleged harm connected to North Carolina are enough to establish jurisdiction. That's the issue the court will have to wrestle with as the case moves forward. And that brings us to August 19th. An evidentiary hearing is scheduled for that date, meaning this unusual legal fight could soon enter another critical phase. For Heather Ammel, the case is about the collapse of a marriage and the damages she says followed. For Sinema, it is a fight over whether an affair that largely took place across state lines can legally become the basis for a North Carolina civil claim. Whatever happens next, this case is already unusual on several levels. A former U.S. Senator, a married member of her security detail, sworn testimony describing encounters in multiple cities, and a centuries-old legal concept that still exists in a handful of states. The next major development could determine whether those details become part of a larger courtroom battle over damages, or whether Sinema's jurisdiction argument brings the case to an end before a full trial. Until then, the biggest question isn't what happened between the two people. It's whether the law can reach across state lines to decide who should pay for the fallout. If you found this update helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Prime Wire, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest news. Thanks for watching.